At the company gala, my wife handed a glass of water to her male assistant and intimately embraced him. For him, she slapped and humiliated me publicly, even removed me from my position, and demanded I write a formal apology to her male assistant. On my birthday, she went to the park with her male assistant, picked up a stray dog as my birthday gift, and even said, "Raise it like our own child." Yet, she turned around and gave her secretary a limited edition sports car. She completely broke ties with me for his sake. She even tried to blacklist me in the industry. At the summit, I exposed her true colors. Ultimately, she went bankrupt, and in a great fire, her entire family perished. At the company gala, my wife handed a glass of water to her male assistant. I frowned, and immediately asked a friend at the courthouse to help me file for divorce. Upon receiving the divorce lawsuit notification, my wife glowered at me, with a sullen face. "Ella, what are you stirring up now? Just because I poured Henry a glass of water, you want a divorce?" I extinguished my cigarette with my fingers, laughing scornfully. Yes, this marriage is beyond saving. Today was the company's company gala. I took the lead, inviting clients to the company gala at the Grand Meridian Ballroom, a place where spending tens of thousands was common. After several rounds of drinks, I couldn't take any more and quickly called for a stop. Just as I was about to ask my wife for a glass of water to recover from the alcohol, I turned my head and saw my wife embracing her male assistant, thoughtfully patting his back to help him recover from the effects of the alcohol. My face instantly darkened. It was clear to everyone at the table that I had drunk so much to shield my wife, the CEO, from the toasts. But from the start of the dinner, she hadn't spared me a single glance. She was only deeply engrossed in each other with the newly hired male assistant in her arms. And after just one opening drink, the male assistant had been slumped in my wife's arms. But everyone had seen him. During work hours, he had blatantly disregarded regulations by drinking Morgan in the company. And now he was faking his drunkenness. "My Charlotte is truly drunk. Drink some water quickly, your face is so red." My heart ached for him. Noticing my expression, everyone had already stopped their casual conversation. After hearing these words, the atmosphere turned incredibly strange. They sneered at me while whispering amongst themselves. I heard a long time ago that Mr. Richard of Olivia was fond of Emma, completely disregarding his own Lucas James. Turns out it's true. You know, this Emma really does look more handsome than the darker-skinned Mr. Daniel. Am I handsome? I think I might have a chance too. My heart ached as if pierced by a knife, and my heart chilled with disappointment and rage. The male assistant, Henry, even secretly looked up and met my gaze with a provocative look. I couldn't take it anymore. Flirting with this Emma right in front of me. "Skylar, are you completely out of your mind?" At my shout, the two with guilty conscience knocked over the dinner plate in front of them. The sauce and debris from the dinner plate splattered on both of them, making them shriek repeatedly. Skylar came to her senses, rushed over, and roared at me. "Ella, why are you deliberately trying to scare us?" The male assistant Henry, who had just been so drunk, now stood in front of Skylar, sternly rebuking me. "Mr. Christopher, I've clarified many times with you that Mr. Richard and I have just a platonic brother-sister bond. Yet you've suspected Abigail again and again. Since you mind, I'll just resign now." Skylar immediately grew anxious, rushing forward to embrace him. "We are innocent. Charlotte, don't abandon me." Henry feigned extreme pain, closing his eyes, and said tenderly, "Abigail, it's all right. Don't blame Riley." Skylar's face completely darkened. She spun around abruptly and slapped me. A sharp crack, causing the entire room to fall silent, then erupt in murmurs. "Apologize. Ella, if you don't properly apologize to Henry today, I might have to reconsider your position as sales director." My heart sank again, a bitter ache spreading through me. For so many years, I had negotiated nearly 80% of the company's deals. And during several major crises, I had also turned the tide. Without me, this company would have collapsed long ago. Yet now, for the sake of this Emma, she publicly slapped me, making me a laughingstock. And she wants to strip me of my position. At that moment, I suppressed the heartache, pushed open the door, and went out to have my friend at the courthouse file for divorce from my wife. Upon reaching the parking lot, I was just about to get my car. But I saw that Skylar had already gotten to Henry first, and put him in her car. Skylar, as she left me in a cloud of exhaust fumes, rolled down her window and said coldly, "Take a taxi back, yourself, it's getting late, I'll drop him off first. This is my final warning, stop causing trouble for me. Just because I tolerated you once doesn't mean I'll tolerate you forever. When you get home, I want to see the apology letter you've written for Henry." Henry, in the passenger seat, gave me a slight smile and waved, the disdain in his eyes clearly evident. She drove Emma home, yet made me take a taxi. I stood my ground. Skylar, let's get a divorce. She replied with extreme impatience. Ella, if it weren't for borrowing of As connections, would you? A man who married into her family with no independent standing? Be where you are today. You re-threatening me with divorce. My last piece of advice to you is to know when to stop. Skylar always believed that Olivia had reached its current stature thanks to Ava's connections working behind the scenes. Little did she know, those deals were painstakingly negotiated by me, one drink after another. I, Ella, had never borrowed any assistance from Ava. On the contrary, it was because of me that Ava achieved what it has today. Eleanor didn't come back all night. Until morning that she opened the door, looking exhausted, but a red hickey appeared on her neck. My pupils contracted, and I found it utterly ridiculous. Seeing me, she froze for a moment, then surprisingly embraced me and presented a black gift box. Jordan, I was wrong yesterday, can you forgive me? You know, my younger brother passed away early, and he's like my brother, we truly are just platonic siblings. He's a college student, stubborn and a bit aloof, but he's not a bad person. Don't be too hard on him. I didn't know if Skylar was truly Michael, or just testing me. She was covered in Henry's perfume scent. The strong scent made my body itch due to allergies. She used to pay attention to these things, never wearing anything with a strong scent. But now, with Henry, she had long forgotten about me. What a coincidence, I have a gift for you too. I presented the divorce papers to her. She paused for a moment, then instantly flew into a rage. She raised her hand and threw the divorce papers at my face. What exactly are you trying to stir up, again and again? If you leave me, who else would want you? The contract had a pen tucked inside. When it hit me, the sharp tip of the pen pierced my face, drawing blood. Skylar's anger faltered, and with a hint of guilty conscience, she quickly added, "This is your own doing. You brought this upon yourself. You're the one threatening me with a fake divorce." I covered my face and sneered. "Let me correct you. First, I genuinely want to divorce you. Second, you didn't return all night, and you have a hickey on your neck. Don't tell me nothing happened." Skylar rose in a fury and angrily retorted, "That was just a farewell kiss between family members. Do you have to be so petty and insist on slandering me and Henry, claiming something happened between us?" I picked up the divorce contract again and handed it to her. "It's obvious something happened, isn't it? What more is there to explain? Sign it." Seeing that my expression was not a joke, Skylar also grew angry. "Ella, don't forget your status as a man who married into her family with no independent standing. If I hadn't wanted you back then, who do you think would have? You dare to suggest divorce to me, Skylar? If you leave my Ava, you'd be nothing." I ignored her furious shouts, only wanting her to sign so I could leave. "It's fine, the agreement is here. I'll wait for you." I got up and went back to the bedroom to bandage my wound, but when I returned, Skylar was gone. The divorce contract in the living room had been thrown into the shredder and pulverized. Only a note remained. "Stop making a fuss, put things away." I don't want to say it a second time. I didn't unwrap the gift, because it was the 99th identical apology gift she had given me. It was clear to see how little she cared about me. I scoffed and dialed the headhunter's number stating my willingness to accept their job offer. The other party paused for a moment, then said ecstatically, "Then why don't you leave Skylar, and come be my James? I'm prettier and richer than her." This was originally a joke. In the past, for Skylar's sake, I would have brushed it off. But now, I chuckled softly. "Sure, once I get my divorce certificate, I'll marry you. I'll take that seriously." The other party was Skylar's arch-rival, Phoenix, the daughter of Zoe. Phoenix and I had met at the beginning of my entrepreneurship. As a client, she was impressed by my exquisite negotiation skills. She had been trying to recruit me ever since, and over time, she developed feelings for me. But due to my rejections, we always maintained boundaries. It was just that, with an unspoken understanding between us, she occasionally made such jokes. Now that I think about it, she was outstanding, knew her boundaries, and would never be bullying others with her influence. If it hadn't been for Skylar monopolizing all my attention, I shouldn't have rejected a woman like her. After I silently assented with a hum, she immediately burst into laughter. I knew it. A scum like Skylar would definitely reveal her true colors. This was handed over on a silver platter by her. I didn't scheme behind the scenes. "Hurry, go resign now, I'll pick you up in my Harper." She was extremely eager. I didn't argue, and simply took a taxi to the company. Only after pushing open my office door did I discover that my former office had already become Henry's. The HR department handed me a transfer request. They also informed me that Mr. Richard had revoked my position last night. From now on, I would be Henry's assistant, and he would be my direct superior. After so many years of diligent work at the company, the hard-earned position was simply given away to someone else by her. Turning around, I saw Henry standing behind me at some point, looking at me with great disdain. Ella, with your Emily, stop trying to pretend to be profound. Didn't you just rely on a vast connections to do business? Anyone can do that. Don't think your absence will make any difference here. I ignored him and sent my resignation letter to Skylar. Soon, angry footsteps stormed towards me. Ella, are you ever going to stop? If you keep this up, do you believe I'll deduct all your bonuses for this year? Skylar glared at me with a look of disgust. I shrugged indifferently. Last year's bonus. You didn't even ask me. You just gave it to Henry as a so-called reward. Why bother threatening me here? Just sign it quickly. I'll make it easier for both of you. Skylar gritted her teeth. Make it easier for us. Ella, you know I won't sign. As long as you apologize, I can pretend none of this happened, and I can let you have this position back. This is my final concession. My patience is limited. Do you understand? Henry puffed out his chest and complained somewhat. Abigail, Riley is just upset about something. He wouldn't actually leave. I think making me leave is the real goal. I also have principles. I won't put up with this kind of treatment. So if he doesn't leave, I will. As Henry spoke, he even presented a resignation letter to Skylar right in front of them. He seemed truly intent on leaving. No, Charlotte. Skylar quickly tried to appease him. I directly exposed Henry's manipulative scheme. Just approve his application and see if he actually leaves. Skylar, thinking I was adding fuel to the fire, angrily rebuked me. That's enough. All of this is your fault. If you hadn't been so constantly suspecting us, how could things have turned out this way? I felt a pang of sorrow. Skylar, you're completely deluded. She was clearly the one who cheated first, and then stubbornly denied it, making countless difficulties for me to protect her young lover. In the end, she blamed all the mistakes on me. Henry, picking up on my words, smiled bitterly. Abigail, I admit I don't want to leave, because I truly want to stay by your side and learn from you. Now that I've finally gained your recognition, Riley deliberately ostracizes me and slanders my reputation. If that's the case, then this company cannot have both him and me today. It's either him or me. Skylar glared at me intently, her face filled with resentment. She quickly made a decision. Ella, it seems Ava's help to you is too much, making you develop delusions. You, Sophia, have become so arrogant, even daring to turn around and dictate terms to me. Aren't you going to resign? I've approved it, but I will blacklist you in the industry throughout the entire sector. Let us see who dares to hire you. Charlotte is younger and more capable than you. Olivia will be more brilliant in his hands. Get out and go home. All right. I averted my gaze and turned to leave. Everything before me filled me with disgust, but unexpectedly, Skylar chased after me. Ella, get back here. You haven't apologized to Henry. My Ava, a prominent, wealthy family, accepted a man who married into her family with no independent standing like you. You should be grateful instead of acting unreasonably. Do you truly believe that all the wealthy families in Riverbend City would accept someone like you, as I did? She looked at the familiar Harper before her, her pupils contracting for a moment. She watched with her own eyes as Phoenix linked arms with me. After getting out of the car, she smiled intimately and embraced me. Oh, I finally got him. Phoenix respectfully invited me into the car, then provocatively waved at Skylar. Jordan, how could he be unwanted? I've been waiting for him, all along. Thank you, Evelyn, for making this possible. Bye-bye. Halfway through the drive, Skylar called to confront me. You know I've always detested Phoenix, that manipulative woman, and you still do this to provoke me. After her voice was heard by Phoenix, who was driving, Phoenix smiled slightly, directly hung up the phone, and pulled the car over to the side of the road. She pulled me close, gave me a deep kiss, and at the same time left a red mark on my neck. Then she took a photo of us together, and sent it. What's sister saying? Little sister is just concerned that big brother isn't being cherished, so I'm cherishing him in your place. See? We're just having a kiss between family members, too, aren't we? Skylar instantly sent dozens of furious messages. Phoenix, are you looking for trouble? And you, Ella, you've really angered me. Don't forget, we're not divorced yet. If you don't immediately get back to me right now, I'll make you leave with nothing. Phoenix replied with a giggle. Our Zoe is wealthy, we don't lack that little bit you're offering. As for divorce, it's only a matter of time. Right now, Brother Riley loves me." Saying this, Phoenix pressed the voice recording button, pointed it at me, and signaled me to speak. "Yes, Skylar, I don't love you anymore. From now on, I love Phoenix. You." Without waiting for Skylar's reply, Phoenix, satisfied, took me away. Throughout the entire process, I let Phoenix answer for me. Immediately after, Henry quickly sent me a provocative anonymous text message. "Have you lost to my intellect? You're smart to know your place and obediently leave. Otherwise, at the Pinnacle Business Summit 5 days from now, once you've witnessed my capabilities, you'll only lose even more miserably." The Pinnacle Business Summit is a top national business summit, organized by prominent, wealthy families from Alex. Companies compete for their large group projects through bidding, thereby gaining unimaginable investment and sponsorship. Ava and Olivia had been preparing for this summit, and Zoe was doing the same. This was also one of the reasons Phoenix and Skylar were at odds. And the reason Phoenix was so eager to recruit me in the first place was because she knew I had already collaborated with the prominent, wealthy families from Alex and was highly regarded. For this Riverbend City Summit, wherever I was, that company's chances of winning would be as high as 99%. So, when Henry tried to provoke me, I ignored him. His days are numbered. Phoenix directly brought me back to Zoe. This greatly surprised me, because technically, I was still not divorced. For prominent families like theirs, once a scandal got out, they would have to spend money to avoid scrutiny, which was extremely troublesome. As soon as we entered, Ethan, though surprised by my arrival, immediately smiled and patted my shoulder. I always said this kid, a man of great caliber and talent, would be my son-in-law sooner or later. Sage, meanwhile, pulled me to sit down. "Haven't eaten yet? Come, Auntie will cook you something delicious." The entire process left me slightly stunned. Because of A's parents had always disliked me intensely, and they only finally agreed to let me marry into the family after I expanded Olivia. They reluctantly allowed me into the family only after I made Skylar the CEO and gave Zoe 51% of the shares. But in the years after our marriage, they never treated me kindly. Every word, implicitly or explicitly, was belittling. The warmth of Zoe's parents deeply moved me. Phoenix held my hand and didn't let go at the dinner table, constantly putting food on my plate. After dinner, she again pulled me along to introduce the entirety of Zoe, telling me what kind of future she and I would have together. This kind of regard truly made my heart tremble slightly. Recalling how Phoenix had remained unmarried all these years, choosing to wait during the prime of her youth. Such devotion. Compared to Skylar's actions over the past year, I could finally admit that I had truly fallen in love with Phoenix. I took her hand proactively. Sitting at sunset, she leaned against me, no words were needed. Our mutual feelings were an open secret. The next morning, I was jolted awake by the furious shouts of Skylar, who had changed her number. "Jordan, you really have some nerve. I waited for you all night, and you dared not to come back. I just found out you actually switched to Phoenix's company. Did you hook up with her a long time ago? Phi. Speak." Phoenix, lying beside me on the pillow, her face tired, said, whether intentionally or not. "James, hang up, okay? Why is some crazy woman calling you so early in the morning?" Skylar's voice fell into an eerie silence. After a long while, I could hear her gritted her teeth. "You actually cheated and betrayed me." I had already blocked her, too lazy to argue with her, so I directly retorted. "If you're unjust, then I'll be disloyal. Do you understand? Hurry up and get the divorce certificate with me. I'm waiting to get married." Sounds of things being thrown could be heard from Skylar's phone, along with Henry's feigned concern. "Evelyn. What's wrong?" It was a workday, so how was Henry at Skylar's house? I figured I didn't need to delve too deeply. They constantly claimed to me that they were just siblings, seeking comfort from each other after losing family members, not allowing me to show even a hint of emotion. But even if they had suffered trauma, and wished to be like siblings, could they really disregard the feelings of me, her husband? After Phoenix and I shared a tender moment, we went to report to the company. Along the way, banners announcing the upcoming summit were plastered everywhere. News, passersby, social media videos. All were promoting the event. At the same time, I saw a rather interesting piece of news. The person in charge of Olivia's bid was Henry, who had just graduated from college and was appointed sales director. The reason I smiled was that Henry had absolutely no capability. The only thing we had in common was that at his age, I too had been naive and overly confident. The difference was that I had entered society early and worked hard to hone my skills. While he was merely a kept man, truly relying on Skylar, and utterly clueless. Sure enough, the next second he proudly showed me the news of his appointment. I hear you've switched to a rival company. And you want to compete with me for the summit project. Heh, don't end up crying on the floor after losing. Washed up middle-aged loser. People often try hardest to prove themselves in areas where they feel most inferior. I shook my head, just as I was about to get out of the car with Phoenix and head inside. She, however, smiled mysteriously and handed me a key. How can my man be treated like this? I saw Henry's provocative text messages to you. I had a private investigator look into some things about him. See for yourself. I plugged it into the car's video player and instantly gasped, well, what a big surprise. He wasn't a college student at all, but a professional male model who was a kept man. I didn't make a fuss. I would just wait until after the divorce to give it to her as a divorce gift. Furthermore, I also discovered something very interesting. One of the difficult to deal with individuals in charge of the summit had been kept by Henry. She was notoriously fiery and unreasonable. And Alex, what would happen at the scene if she recognized Henry then? I couldn't help but chuckle. Only after entering the company did I realize that my appointed position was not sales director but rather CEO. As soon as I entered, all the employees applauded for me, and someone started shouting, "Mr. David." Immediately after, countless people greeted me, expressing their admiration. "Mr. David, we are truly delighted that you are our superior. You don't know, these past few years, being your competitor, my hair's thin from the stress. I couldn't beat you, truly couldn't beat you." I quickly demurred, saying it was too much praise. But then I suddenly noticed a group of familiar faces in the crowd. Weren't these my former subordinates? They all stood up and told me, "Mr. David, we followed you since Olivia was founded. Wherever you are, that's where we'll be." I was touched, and at the same time, I smirked playfully. Olivia's sales department, with its core team gone, wouldn't Skylar be furious right now? As if to confirm my words. Suddenly, Skylar's furious roar came from behind me. "You are too Mason. Ella, it's one thing that you left, but you actually poached my team." Her team. Without me even needing to speak, my old comrades retorted coldly. "Mr. Richard, I hope you recognize the reality. We have always followed Mr. David. It was Mr. David who led us to build the empire we built, not you. You humiliated Mr. David like this just to be with Emma. We all witnessed it. We hope you have some self-respect and stop making a scene." Being mocked to her face, Skylar froze for a moment, then suddenly exploded in rage from humiliation. He, Ella, only got where he is today by relying on my Ava's resources. Are you blind? Do you really have to follow someone like him who mistakes company resources for personal talent? The employees who were called blind immediately stiffened their faces. "Mr. Richard, whether we re-blind or not is none of your concern. I think you'd better check if your own eyes are blind." Skylar was so enraged that her chest heaved with rage. She suddenly turned and stared intently at me. "Fine. Is this your revenge and plan? Do you think if you poach these good-for-nothings, I won't be able to win the summit? Just you wait. I'll make you come crying and begging me then." I quickly spoke up. "Wait." Skylar, thinking she had threatened me, sneered. "What? Scared? Want to beg for mercy now?" I gestured. "Don't be Cameron there. I'm advising you to quickly sign the divorce papers with me." Skylar's face instantly darkened. "You're so determined to divorce me? Just for that manipulative woman?" She pointed at Phoenix and cursed fiercely. I immediately shielded Phoenix, making the anger in Skylar's eyes almost erupt. She knew. I had never shielded another woman in my life, only her. "Ella, my dean is waiting for you at home. Aren't you going to divorce? Then propose it to me in front of Stephanie." Skylar walked away furiously. Phoenix embraced me. "Never mind her, James. Even without a marriage certificate, I'll be with you. Being with you, I don't ask for anything." I smiled faintly and stroked her head. "That won't do. Wait for me obediently at home. I'll definitely be back." That evening, I attended the banquet alone. It was then I realized Skylar was beautifully dressed, yet she still brought Henry. I was so angry I laughed. "We're already discussing a divorce, and you still brought him." Skylar gave me a cold glare and immediately took Henry's hand. "Ella, I forgot to remind you. Charlotte is now my boyfriend, and my future James." I chuckled softly and said encouragingly, "Why didn't you just admit it earlier? All that unnecessary charade, claiming to be just siblings." Skylar was stunned, asking in surprise, "Why aren't you angry? How can you not be?" Only when she asked this did I understand. She had been angered by me during the day and wanted to get back at me here. I chuckled. "Skylar, I'm someone who knows when to let go. You know my temper. My rejection of countless temptations for you was because I loved you. But now that I don't love you, what do you mean to me? Skylar wasn't angry, but Henry was eager to show off. What the hell are you saying, Ella? What are you pretending to be? But Skylar, unexpectedly, roared at Henry for the first time. Sit down and shut up. Henry pointed at himself in disbelief. But seeing Skylar's gaze, he could only suppress his anger, sit back down, and desperately challenge me with his eyes. At this moment, Ava's parents finally rushed over. Knowing my intentions, they had no intention of mediating, only calculating coldly. You can divorce, but you can't take a single penny. Otherwise, we'll go to court. Skylar instinctively spoke up. Wait, Dean, Mom, we clearly didn't discuss it this way. But I said with delight. All right, but I have only one condition. We go to divorce first thing tomorrow morning, no delays. Things went unexpectedly smoothly. Just as I was about to leave, Henry finally couldn't sit still and stood up to question me. Ella, you've used Ava's resources to build your career all these years. Don't you have to pay for that? My mouth twitched slightly, and then I saw Ava's parents. Their eyes lit up. Since you've used Ava's resources, then leaving with nothing isn't enough. You'll have to pay compensation. Tell us, what did you use from my Ava? I was once again so angry I laughed. Leaving with nothing wasn't enough. I would also be held accountable afterwards. They were fabricating things every day, saying I only achieved anything by relying on Ava as a powerful backer. I immediately turned and asked, I'd also like to know what resources I supposedly borrowed from Ava that made you think I was a kept man. Money. Ava didn't give me a single cent. Connections. Almost all projects were with my own classmates and business partners. Your Ava's reputation. But your Ava never publicly stated that I was your son-in-law. What the hell did I ever borrow from your Ava? Skylar froze, and so did Henry. My answer seemed to have caught them off guard. Stephanie, however, grunted and asked Skylar. Daughter, you tell us, what did he use from our Ava behind our backs? Skylar stammered and mumbled, but ultimately couldn't explain anything coherent. Henry didn't believe it, and stubbornly stated, You mean to say you got where you are today entirely on your own? I don't believe you have such capability. It's not up to you whether you believe it or not. Suddenly, from outside the door, Ethan's powerful, resonant voice rang out. Turning my head, I realized that Phoenix's family had arrived at some point. Mr. Richard immediately stood up and reprimanded. What are you Zoe doing here at my Ava? Ethan smiled and glanced at me. Of course, to take my good son-in-law home. For all these years, I've seen how your Ava has treated Jordan. Forget about providing any financial support. You barely even let him through your doors, did you? Now, your well-raised daughter is cheating and carrying on with another man, forcing him to leave with nothing after divorce, and now you're trying to calculate what he took from your Ava. If you want me to calculate, without the 51% of shares he gave your Ava would have been gone long ago during the last stock market volatility, and you're still saying, Ava. Mr. Richard was panting with rage, and Skylar stared at me in disbelief. As if for the first time, she truly understood Ava's real situation. And the sacrifices I had made. Henry's eyes also showed shock. How could that be? How could such a large corporation, like Olivia, be supported by an unknown nobody? Ethan scoffed coldly again. An unknown nobody like you certainly can do it. But if it's my esteemed son-in-law, he definitely can. Don't you dare think that just because you hooked up with this Miss Ava, you could achieve such success, could you? Do you think you'd receive any good treatment even if you married into Ava? Henry's eyes revealed shock, and he struggled to conceal the calculation on his face. Skylar became restless and stood up, then pulled me. Jordan, some things. I didn't know. I raised my hand and cut her off. No need, it's better not to know. Just live your whole life without knowing, then, no. To avoid further argument with them, I gestured to Ethan. Uncle William, let's go home. Ethan laughed heartily and patted my head. Still calling me Uncle William. I immediately understood, and called out with a smile. Dean, let's go. As I walked out of Ava's entrance, I heard Henry frantically shouting inside. Ella, stop pretending. When the summit day comes, you'll realize you're absolutely nothing. I sneered, and a glint of murderous intent appeared in my eyes. That summit day will be your Henry's doom. Over the next few days, after filing the divorce application, Zoe began introducing me to people from all walks of life, and publicly declared their allegiance, becoming my strong support. At the new company, Zoe, which previously shared the market equally with Olivia, now alone captured 80% of the market share. While working on many small projects, I often saw Skylar taking Henry to meet clients. But the door was directly slammed in their face. Whereas when it came to me, Clients personally came to seek cooperation. The last time I saw them, Skylar's eyes already held a flicker of disgust for Caleb. And Henry became increasingly silent, increasingly defiant. Until the day of the summit, when we finally officially met again. Seeing these two again, Henry no longer provoked, having lost his arrogance. And Skylar was exceptionally silent, with what seemed like a sheen of tears in her eyes. We sat in the waiting area. While they sat to one side, everyone knew that only our two companies in Riverbend City could compete for this project, but only Zoe knew that I was the only one who could secure this project. The influential figures from the capital elite on the judging panel had already repeatedly signaled to me. How could Henry, sitting nearby, not notice this unusual scene? He gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. But I deliberately provoked him. Tell me, why must a sick cat pretending to be a lion show off in front of others? Do you think someone might discover his true identity? Henry reacted defensively, instantly refuting loudly. Do you think you've already won? I'm not inferior to you, Ella. Stop being Zion here. Losing his composure like this drew murmurs of disapproval from the audience. Is this Olivia's chosen person? His demeanor is too poor, isn't it? I heard the original director was a very capable person, but it seems he was ostracized. Mr. Richard of Olivia is also blind to have found such a person to take over. Skylar, biting her lip. I didn't know what she was enduring, but she kept watching Phoenix and me chatting and laughing. Since filing for divorce, I had given her that Kai as a gift. She hadn't said another word to me. Soon, the bidding began. I was the first to present. I've handled this kind of situation many times, it's second nature to me. I greeted everyone, maintaining a friendly demeanor. Then, I used humor to break the ice with them. Afterward, I presented my strengths and persuasive arguments. The moment I finished, the entire room applauded, and the host chatted with me, smiling. The judging panel nodded in approval. Phoenix looked at me with deep admiration. But Skylar's eyes were filled with bitterness. After all, it seemed to be the first time she had seen me so calm and composed on stage. When it was Henry's turn, the host on stage kept calling his name. But he stood frozen, not coming up for a long time. I followed his gaze and only then realized that his Robert had arrived. According to the rules, for fairness, each contestant would face a different judge. And coincidentally, it was his former patron. Skylar gave me a scrutinizing look, and I showed amusement. Henry was caught in the middle, facing everyone's attention. He, who always thought highly of himself, suddenly cowered, only daring to go on stage with his head down. The audience booed loudly. A flicker of deep disappointment also crossed Skylar's eyes. But just as he plugged in the Kai, preparing to play the presentation slides, an indecent scene suddenly appeared on the nationally broadcast Lisa. The female lead kept changing, while the male lead was our protagonist, Henry. Not to mention, when one of the female judges became a main character in it, the audience instantly erupted. The live broadcast was immediately cut off. On stage, Henry's face was deathly pale, his legs trembled uncontrollably, and a wet patch appeared on his pants. I, on the other hand, glanced at Skylar. It was clear she was behind it. But why? Skylar offered no explanation, looked at me, and walked straight off. Meanwhile, Henry was beaten relentlessly by the enraged judges. Afterward, Henry was severely tormented, and his whereabouts became unknown. And this project rightfully fell to me. With Zoe's significant growth, Olivia almost had no ground to stand on. The day Olivia declared bankruptcy, Skylar transferred all the shares belonging to me. She also left me a letter. Only after leaving you did I realize how foolish I was. If there's a next life, I'll never let go of your hand. Afterward, a sudden fire broke out at Ava, and the entire family perished. On Skylar's death anniversary, I held my daughter's hand and, with Phoenix, placed a white flower. It was her favorite flower, when she was alive. A gentle breeze carried away a single petal, just like our past together. With death, all scores are settled. I put down the flower, turned, and moved towards a brighter future.